All right, and welcome to the Business Shower Podcast, a podcast for business owners to shine. I am your girl, Kelly Edwards, and today we are talking to Jackey Neyman Jones, right? I said it right?
Yes, you did.
Awesome. And then who do we have here with us?
This is Shanka, and he's
Shaka.
my little American Eskimo Chihuahua mix.
Okay.
He's 12 years old, and he's named after the movie the dog that was in the movie we're gonna talk about, for one thing.
Awesome. So, first of all, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good today. I'll tell you, I got that shot, the virus shot.
Oh, you got the vaccine?
The vaccine on Tuesday, and then I had a painting job, which we'll talk about my painting work. But I just thought, well, I'm tough. So I did the shot and I went to work, and then I was in bed. What is today? Friday? Oh
yeah.
my gosh. I've been down for 2 days.
Oof.
And I feel better today. Most of the people that I know have gotten it, are doing fine.
Yeah.
But it hit me hard. And I've heard the second one is worse. So there's no way I'm scheduling anything for a couple days. But thank God I feel good right now.
Yes, exactly. Oh man. Yeah, we're gonna have to talk about that because I want to get it, but I don't know.
I know. Don't you feel like you're being immune? I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. Okay. So tell our listeners who you are and what you do.
Oh, let's see. Gosh, there's so many things. My main phrase is, I like to say, I'm an artist. You do the math. And okay. So where do I start? So I'm most famous for being a pop culture icon. I was in a movie when I was 6 years old, turning on 7. And my dad starred in it, and my dog was in it. My mom made the costumes. I mean, to me, it was a family movie. And my dad was in theater in El Paso, Texas, and he was really big in theater, and it was very inspirational to me. And anyway, this film was made in 1966, and then it premiered in El Paso, Texas, where we lived, and it was pretty much laughed out of the theater. And anybody that was in it, which was all people in El Paso, never wanted to talk about it again. So it disappeared literally for 27 years. And then a program called Mystery Science Theater found it. And they put on and made fun of films that were in public domain, that were never copyrighted. So in a really weird way, Manos, the Hands of Fate, was never copyrighted. And because of that, that's what made it famous. The people that made it never made money from it because of that. You know, it's just one of those technological things. But I'm telling you, if it had been copywritten, it would have disappeared forever, and nobody would have knew it.
Wow.
Ever existed.
So what was the name of the movie again?
It's called Manos, Manos.
Okay.
The Hands of Fate.
Okay.
And it was made in El Paso, Texas in 1966. And the word manos means, literally in Spanish, it means hands. Okay. So it's redundant to begin with.
Okay.
Hands, the hands of fate.
So you're an actor.
Well, in that case, I'm actually a professional artist.
Okay. Okay. So what does professional artist mean for the listeners?
Okay.
Yeah. Just break it down for us.
Yeah, so I grew up in a very creative family.
Okay.
And because of this film, that's the only reason I was in the film, is that my dad starred in it.
Okay.
And he was in community theater.
Okay.
And he was also an amazing artist. He did sculpture, and I mean, he was really an amazing artist.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very inspired by that. And so I became an artist. Mm-hmm. And for most of my life, I found one way or another to make a living at art.
Okay.
So, like, for instance, God, what was it? I'm trying to think of what inspired me, but this was like 1984, let's say. And I was working in the wine industry in Northern California. I had just started working in a tasting room. You know, so I was learning about wine and culture and music in Northern California. It was really cool, especially for a 20-something-year-old, you know.
Yeah,
I'm
sure you had access to wine, so.
But not just wine, but music, and oh, it's beautiful.
Okay.
And so, but I've always been, because of my father, been inspired to go beyond the limits. Like, what the hell? Let's try this. Let's try that. So literally one day, because I was working in the wine industry, in the tasting rooms in Northern California, and I saw how many t-shirts were selling, like wine t-shirts, right?
With just bottle of wine or a glass of wine on it?
Well, I mean, the winery name or a design, you know, something. And I was an artist. And so this is what, oh man, I'm just remembering this, what happened. I had no money. I'm like 22 years old. I'm barely making it. You know, I'm making minimum wage. I love my job, but I'm not making it, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm looking at how many t-shirts are selling through the tasting room. Well, I'm an artist, right? Yeah. So this is literally what happened. There was a lady in the downtown. I was living in Sonoma County, California.
Okay.
And so it's Santa Rosa. And there was this woman who had just opened a t-shirt shop, wholesale t-shirts. I can't remember where she was getting them from, but you could go in there and you could buy a dozen t-shirts for cheap. So I went in there. I can't believe I did this. I had this dream that I could paint, like hand paint as an artist, t-shirts, and sell them to winery tasting rooms. So I went in there to her shop and I gave her my vision. And I didn't have any money. Not like it would have been a lot. Yeah. But I got her to give me 3 dozen t-shirts in various sizes. From small to extra large. Okay. And I took them home and I cut pieces of cardboard that fit them and I put them over the cardboard and I took them out in the yard and I painted this design, a grape design, something winery. Okay. I painted something winery on these shirts. And then on one of each shirt, I wrote the name of the winery. Oh, what I have to say first was, you know, I'd been working in the tasting room serving wine for a year or so. And so I already knew all the managers of all the tasting rooms in Sonoma County.
Okay.
They were all friends of mine because I had done wine tastings.
Yeah.
So I knew all these people. And believe me, winery people were very, you know, they were fun.
Yes. Okay.
So they were very open, and I told them what I was doing. And this woman that owned the t-shirt shop, I didn't have any money. And so she gave me 3 dozen t-shirts and 2 weeks to pay her.
Oh.
Because I didn't have any. I mean, I literally started my business with nothing.
Yeah. Wow.
And so she did.
So did you sell the t-shirts?
Immediately. It was amazing.
Okay. Oh.
And so, like, the first winery I went to was my friend Diane, who's running the tasting room at Dry Creek Winery in Alexander Valley, Sonoma County, California.
Okay.
I lived like 3 miles from there. And she's like, oh, I love it. I'll take this many small, medium, large, blah. So then I went to the lady in the t-shirt shop. So I wasn't going to her saying, just give me shirts. I went to her saying, I have this order and I don't have money, but I have an order.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'll pay you in a week.
Okay.
So she gave them to me, and I took them home and I painted them with great designs. And I wrote the name of the winery on there, Dry Creek Winery. And I took them, and Diane, she sold most of them like in a couple weeks and ordered more. In the meantime, I had created a sample, like an extra one, of course, and I took them around to the other wineries who I knew the managers of, friends, because this is a small town. You have to understand, Healdsburg, where I was a town of 8,000 people in the early 1980s, and there were 50 wineries with a Healdsburg address.
Wow.
And I knew a lot of those people only because I worked in the tasting room serving wine at events.
Exactly. So you would meet them while you're working.
And they're sociable people, and I'm sociable, and I just made friends with these people. So when I had this crazy idea to paint t-shirts, they were all receptive.
Yeah.
But only after I went to somebody that Dry Creek Winery, I don't even know what they're doing these days.
Yeah.
But they were pretty dang huge in those days for a small winery.
Yeah.
Okay. And now they're worldwide. I mean, they basically were at that point. But she started with like 2 dozen t-shirts. And they sold so fast. She was like, can you give me more? So I did. Oh. And then I went to a couple other friends, tasting room managers, and I said, look what I did. And they were like, well, we'll give it a try. And some of them I actually, because the woman who sold me the t-shirts in the beginning gave them to me in advance and let me pay later.
Yeah.
I was able to get more shirts, and I painted those, and I did a test with other winery names, same design, great design, but with their name on it. And I don't know, it just went crazy.
Yeah, but It seemed like you built a whole business around this.
Just around this, it was crazy. So this is what happened. This business took off, and I stopped working in the tasting rooms, and that's all I was doing, just painting t-shirts.
Okay.
And then, boy, this is the 90s. We're in the early 90s now. And this thing called faux finish comes out. Like doing wall treatments.
Oh,
making walls look like different things, like Italian manners and plaster finishes and murals, all these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I knew this woman who I had met through the tasting rooms, through the wine. And one day she said to me, I just bought this new house. Do you think you could do this on my wall? Mm-hmm. And I went,
That actually doesn't sound like a bad idea.
Oh, no. And you have to understand, this is before internet.
Yeah.
I mean, this is new stuff. And my mind went crazy. I mean, literally, my mind, I was like, I could do that, but then I could do, and then I couldn't stop thinking about it. So I got a piece of poster board, and I bought some paint, and I looked at some videos, and I just played with it. I bought a book or two, and I played with it, and I was like, wow. So I made a sample for her, and she hired me, and it just took off from there. But what I learned about myself is that I'm an artist.
Yeah.
And I do just what I said. I think of something and it explodes into all these ideas. So how do you? I've sabotaged myself so many times because I get overwhelmed with these ideas.
Okay.
So I have found in my life, and this has happened a number of times, where somebody else comes into my life who is also an artist, but is more a business person. And they see something in me, and we've connected. So in Southern California, it was a woman named Roxanne, and we had a business for like 10 years. We did so well. Oh my God.
So was Roxanne like a manager, or was she?
She was also an artist.
Okay.
But she was good with the money.
Okay.
And she was good with the organization. She had been a bookkeeper. Duh. Yeah. So there she was. She had that part.
Okay.
But I was the one that went crazy. I mean, I was the one that just came up with ideas. Like, I was the one that experimented with finishes and did things that nobody else was doing. Wow. But she gave me the opportunity to do that.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I moved from Northern California to Oregon. And then I met another woman who was living pretty well in her life. I mean, she'd been very successful in a number of things.
Okay.
And she met me, and she saw something in me, and we teamed up and created a business called Faux Secrets.
I actually like that name. That's really
right. It was good. It was our secret.
Okay.
And but because I was working with somebody that was organized and handling the money side of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm good with people,
Yeah.
but the art, if I can just be let loose.
Mm-hmm. You're more of a creator, seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with Roxanne, oh my God, we did so good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was able to, as a single mom,
Mm-hmm.
I bought my house and I raised my 2 boys by myself
Okay.
because of this business. And I was having a hell of a lot of fun.
Okay. See, because you did what you love. So that is a
Yeah.
very interesting story on how, one thing shaped you to the next thing. So my next question that I have for you is this your real name or is this your stage name?
It's interesting. So my original name
Okay.
is Jackey Raye Neyman.
Okay.
And then I got married to
Okay.
Jones,
Mm-hmm.
and it's Jackey Raye Jones.
Okay.
And my art since I was a kid has been J. Raye.
J. Raye. Okay.
But then I got known as a pop culture icon
Mm-hmm.
since the early 1990s, with Mystery Science Theater as being the child star of the worst movie ever made,
Mm-hmm.
and my dad, Tom Neyman, being the star and creative director of this film.
Okay.
So then I switched it to Jackey Neyman Jones because when I go to conventions as a special guest and that sort of thing,
Mm-hmm.
I need the name Neyman in there.
Gotcha.
But
Okay.
I've been divorced for a number of years,
Okay.
and that's Jones.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I'm in the process right now of kind of redefining myself.
Okay.
It's hard because most of my art is signed J. Raye,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't use Raye anymore.
Yeah.
So anyway, at this point, I think because of the pop culture stuff and that's on the rise again,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going with Jackey Neyman Jones.
Okay. I actually like J. Raye because it
I
probably looks
know.
nice when you paint it like J.
Oh,
Raye. Like
it's
I could,
so pretty.
yeah, right. I was just thinking about that.
It really is. And you know what? Here's the truth. I think people are just gonna have to deal with it, but I will not stop signing my art that way.
Okay.
I just can't. My art will always be J. Raye.
Okay. Yeah.
But I think the rest of my life is Jackey Neyman Jones.
Okay. All right.
It's been
So
a long process to figure out.
listen, I can just about imagine. So let me ask you this question. Did you go to school for art to learn how to paint, or is it just something that just like came naturally?
Well, my dad was an artist
Okay.
since I was born. Oh my gosh. Hold on. I have a lot of his art, but oh, here, I'm going to grab this. Hold
Okay.
on. My dad was an amazing artist when I was growing up. I was born in Fort Worth, Texas,
Okay.
and we lived there till I was 4, and then we moved to El Paso, Texas,
Mm-hmm.
and my dad bought a house for like $20,000. This hundred and at that point, this is
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, this is like 1955. No,
Houses really.
1963.
Yeah.
My dad bought a house that was 3.5 miles from the Mexican border in El Paso, Texas.
Okay.
On the border of Juarez, Mexico. And the house was 1.5 foot thick adobe walls, and built in 1902.
Okay.
I believe.
Okay.
And they said you could see the battle of the Mexican-American Revolution from the porch.
Really?
Yeah. It was a beautiful house. And it had this this studio, this building in the backyard built of river rock.
Okay.
God, I'm thinking, man, in the middle of the desert, where do you find river rock? But from the Rio Grande River, I suppose.
Wow.
So anyway, my dad's studio was in that. That was his art studio. Okay. So since I was a child, my dad, he was always an artist, and I adored him. And and that's where I learned, because he did everything. He did sculpture, he did clay, he did like welding art. God, he just did everything.
So pretty much you got your experience from your dad.
Yeah, our house, when I was a small child, my dad had this old truck from the 1940s, and he rode on the side. Tobacco Rhoda was what he called the truck. Yeah. And he would take me with him as a small child out into the desert, and he would dismantle these old buildings that were falling down in the middle of the desert and scrap all the wood and create things from it.
Wow.
Like make furniture. He paneled our living room. So that's where I got it from.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
Just create from what is at hand.
Exactly. Okay. So would you consider yourself an entrepreneur? Why or why not?
Absolutely. I have no choice. I cannot be anything but self-employed. I've had other jobs in my life and I've had a fun time, but I just can't. It's the only way I can be.
Okay. Okay. So what's the biggest pain point that you've been dealing with these days with COVID? What's the biggest pain point? Like, what have you been struggling with, if you have been struggling with anything since the pandemic started? Has it affected your business?
It's actually creating a lot of new opportunities, things that I never, ever imagined.
Okay.
But yeah, the new opportunities, it's really exciting. I'm looking forward to what else I can do, but at the same time, here's the thing. So because of what I'm doing with this film, Manos Hands of Fate, I have been a guest at conventions, like Comic-Con type of conventions and horror conventions.
Okay.
And but since the pandemic, I'm getting more podcast interviews, and I'm getting more opportunities and people asking me to come to different events when they open up. So honestly, I think I'm going to be busier than ever. I think I'm going to be going to, I've already been invited to places I've never been in my life, like Florida and Michigan, and I don't know. I think it's a whole new world.
I think it is too. All right. So, 3 people that inspired you.
Wow. Okay. 3 people that have inspired me. Oh, let's see. Alice Cooper. That's so funny that came up all of a sudden, but But here's the thing is I've got somebody that wants me to come to the Motor City Comic Con.
Okay.
And I went and I looked, and Alice Cooper is a guest. And I'm like, oh my God. I mean, as a kid, as a teenager, I had a hard time. I mean, my dad was suicidal growing up.
Okay.
And I was suicidal. I remember as a 13-year-old thinking, man, if he succeeds, I'm right behind him. There's no way I can stay here without him. I couldn't imagine. But people like Alice Cooper were, I don't know. I don't know. He was dark, but he had this love and this humor.
Okay.
And I didn't recognize it as those things when I was a kid, but I do now. And if I had the chance to see him and say thank you, that would be incredible.
Well, you might get to meet him.
I might.
Yeah. So that's one person. Two more.
That's one. Two more. Oh, well, here's another one. Is Cassandra Peterson.
Okay.
Who plays Elvira.
Oh, okay.
I met her at a convention we were both guests at several years ago at Crypticon, Seattle.
Okay.
And I'd always been a fan of hers. And I found out that she had done Manos a Hands of Fate on her show one time. Okay. So I went across the room on a break at one point, and she was sitting there, and she had this long line of people waiting for autographs. And she had this tough looking woman sitting next to her bodyguard. And I snuck around the end of the table. I go, Cassandra, I played Debbie in Manos Hands of Fate. And she looked at me. She's like, her eyes got big, and she goes, stop the line. So then she asked me a bunch of questions, and I mean, I just fell in love with her. I think she's amazing. I mean, what she has done, not just as a sexy woman. I mean, she's played it with the comedy as a sexy woman, but she's in control of her audience.
Yeah. Yeah, she is.
She is. I love that woman. And then let's see, gosh, who else? Well, I'd say Joel Hodgson, who is Joel in Mystery Science Theater. He started that when he was pretty young, and what he's done with it, and always done it with a love for his audience, his humbleness. People like that, I just want to emulate. It doesn't matter how many fans you have or how big you get. You always gotta honor the people that got you there.
Exactly. Okay.
So yeah, those are my three.
All right, awesome. So what do you think some characteristics are that one needs to become an entrepreneur?
Oh man, whew. You gotta get knocked down a lot. And you gotta, man, sometimes it's really hard to believe in yourself. But if you believe in what you're doing, then there are always going to be people knocking you down. Perspective is everything.
Okay.
Many times people who are knocking you down are doing that because they don't know how to do it themselves, or they wish they could.
Exactly.
You know, and that's not you. You just have to hold on to it.
Yeah.
You have to open yourself up to the people that are supporting you and know that there's a reason they're doing that.
Exactly. Absolutely. So that actually ties into the next question, which is, in those difficult moments, how do you stay focused?
Ooh. Sometimes it's hard. And honestly, that's what shows a sign of a true entrepreneur. Is a stubborn son of a bitches that aren't going to give up no matter what.
Exactly.
It's like, man, I've been on the floor crying, I don't know how many times, but you know what? You're either an entrepreneur or you're in the freaking mental hospital. I mean, sometimes, yeah, you're crazy, and everybody else says you're crazy. But if it won't leave you, if there's something about it, then go with the something.
Exactly.
It's not always everything. Sometimes it's just one little piece. Follow that little thread and hang on to it, because I'm telling you, the most incredible thing is when you do, the people that show up, it's trippy. It's like, where the hell did you come from?
Absolutely.
The right people show up, and that's who you hang on to. That's who you team up with. And sometimes they're completely opposite you, but you have a feeling.
Yes, absolutely. That's where I am with one of my business partners.
Opposites attract, right?
They do. They do.
If we're the same, how are we ever gonna make it, you know?
Exactly. So what is the most important thing you learned in life? What were you like before you learned it, and what were you like after you learned this?
Oh man, the most important thing that I've learned is that there's a hell of a lot of people on this planet alive in this moment. And every single one of them has as full a life in their head as we do, as I do. And yeah, I'm pretty fucking important. Oops, sorry.
Nope. Go ahead.
But I'm just one teeny tiny. So what I've been seeing myself as lately is like a drop of rain in a waterfall. And we're separate, but we're also part of this huge thing. And it's not just the people that are alive in this moment. And I try not to think too much about this because it's pretty freaking overwhelming. How many people have lived, and every one of them had a full life. But it's important to me to do that from time to time, to know that I'm just a piece of this. And what that helps, it doesn't make me feel insignificant. It just makes me not feel so overwhelmed on what I want to accomplish. It makes me understand that there's not just one way to do things. There's like so many things to do, so many ways. And the best thing you can do is think about that just for a minute, and then pick a few directions.
Exactly.
A few, 3 or 4. No more than that at a time, because otherwise you'll be on the ground.
Yes.
but to understand that there's like, just because you think of it one way, that's too limiting. And I mean, I'm like 61 and a half years old now. It's taken me a long time. I've been self-employed and independent since my early 20s. I've done very well. I've also been bankrupt, and my house was in pre-foreclosure when my children were young. But I pulled myself out of it. I did it. And my kids are grown. I have 4 grandchildren now.
Aw.
A new one, 2 years old. No, the newest one. Oh my God.
Oh.
That one's only 2 months old. Right.
Oh my God. So you
Dang.
got newborn. Okay.
New baby. So, now I have incentive to inspire them, but I've accomplished more than I ever could imagine just by somehow taking it down to a piece at a time and being open to programs. I have gotten into business programs where I've met the most amazing people who have taken me step by step. And I've just learned in so many directions, but being the independent artist that I am, I find those directions in open ways.
Okay. All right. So what advice would you give someone that wants to pursue a similar career as yours?
Find a partner that has different skills from your own. If you're an artist, it's great. I mean, you need to have somebody with an artistic mind. But if you could find somebody with a managerial mind, if you don't have that, that's incredible. It's so much freedom.
Yeah.
And that's when I've made money. I mean, that's when I haven't had to worry about paying my bills. And everybody was happy. I mean, yeah, find somebody with different talents than yours. If you can't do it all, and here's the thing, who can do it all? I mean, I spent so many years like looking at people I admired, thinking that they were doing it by themselves. No, they weren't.
No.
Nobody does. Nobody does.
The most important thing I learned was to create systems in your business. So it could possibly run by yourself. And a system doesn't have to be literally a system. It could be someone that's doing something for you because you can't do it all by yourself. So yeah, that is my definition of a system. So yeah, absolutely right. You got to find that person that has that managerial side if you don't have it. So I definitely agree with you. So let me ask you this. Were there any resources that helped you along the way on your journey to help you find that person that you brought into your business that helped you make money? Or was there any like business development centers that helped you?
Oh, yeah. I would say absolutely go to your local business development centers. Okay. I had no idea what they would do for me. I met the most amazing people everywhere I've lived. In Northern California, I found people through the community development departments. Okay. I would start there. I would go to, if you're an artist, go to join the local art councils and art galleries, and if you don't have the money to pay dues, then just go visit, just get to know people in the field that you're interested in, make relationships with them, ask them questions about things that you're interested in. Yep. That's really, really important. Think about this. If you're shy or you think, oh, nobody wants to talk to me, think about this. If you ask people about what they do, what do people want to talk about more than anything?
Themselves.
Exactly. So just ask questions. You're not only going to learn stuff, but you're going to make connections.
Yeah.
And those are the people, oh, believe me, those are the people that are going to reach out and go, hey, did you talk to so-and-so? And this is in the day of incredible connection. Social media it's phenomenal. I'm just barely learning to touch it myself.
It is. The last podcast that I that's going to air before this one, we talked about the same thing, how social media is the way to network and meet people now. So you gotta use your resources, guys.
Well, then I'm gonna go and listen to your previous podcast.
Yes.
Because that's the other thing is never think you know it all. You will not believe the things you learn just in casual conversation, little tiny stuff.
Exactly.
So being my biggest lesson right now at 61 years old is being present. When somebody's talking, try not to think ahead of the conversation. Try your best to stay in the moment.
Yes.
Because there are the most magic things that are just handed to you.
Yeah. And it's happening all around you. Wow. Okay. So what advice would you give your younger self?
To listen.
Okay.
To stop thinking I know it all.
Okay.
Just to be open.
Okay.
Number one, be open.
Be open. All right. So if money wasn't an option, what would you do every day? Or would you do the same thing you're doing now?
I'd pretty much do the same thing. It's like pretty much. And I was going to say I'd probably travel more, but if I did, it would be places that I was very comfortable with and could stay for a month or so.
Yeah.
I definitely fit my astrological sign.
Okay.
I'm a Cancer. I'm a homebody.
Okay.
And I just love being around things that are cozy and comfy to me.
Yeah.
So
I'm married to a Cancer, so
you get it.
Yes. Yes. It's like I'm surrounded by. When is your birthday, if you don't mind me asking?
July 2nd.
Okay.
When is his?
His is July 21st. So he's on the cusp of.
Oh. And so he would be a little more out there and experimental.
No, he's not Cancer. No, he's a complete
total Cancer.
Total Cancer. Yes.
Aww.
Yes.
Well, I love him already.
So what's your vision for the next 5 years? What do you see for the next 5 years?
Well, I'm working on a web series right now, which is really exciting because I was in Manos Hands of Fake. What was it, 54 years ago?
Okay.
No, 55. Well, anyway, long damn time ago. And so this woman, Willow Polson, who's already done an award-winning web series, is creating a web series based on my character.
Okay.
All these years later, so I get to be out battling supernatural evil.
Oh.
So I get to be a badass.
Okay.
And that's pretty cool. Yeah. Because I'm not in bad shape for a 61-year-old lady.
No, when you said it, I was just like, really? Okay.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm telling you, my great grandma was 103. I lived some from long lifers. So yeah, I'm ready to go. This is exciting. So the web series and my art. Okay. I'm working on a local business here and building my studio. I'm going to be doing some online classes. I've got my YouTube channel that I'm building, and I'm just open to opportunity. It's like I'm realizing that I'm at this age that time is limited. I'm very aware of that. I'm blessed to be in such good condition and to be in the position I am as a self-employed artist. I am not set up financially, and I still need to work.
Okay.
And but I just can't imagine doing something that doesn't fill my heart. Yeah. So I'm a romantic. I'd rather die than do what I don't love. So
I get it. So are you in New York or are you in New Jersey, or are you?
I'm in Oregon.
Oh.
I'm on the West Coast. I'm in Western Oregon.
Okay.
I am about 3.5 hours from Seattle.
Okay.
And I spent 20 years in Northern California in the wine country.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I moved up here, 20 years ago. But I grew up in Texas.
Sure. All right.
So I've been on the West. I have never been in New York or New Jersey.
Really?
I was there's a couple of Comic-Con conventions out that way that want me, and we're just waiting for COVID to
clear up.
But I really intend to get out that way.
Okay. I mean, New Jersey, not so interesting, but New York, it's something. That's why I haven't moved down south yet, because I like New York. I don't really want to be away from it. It's expensive to live there, but
I bet
I like to go to New York in the summertime. So
were you raised there? You've lived there?
I've lived in Jersey my whole life, so I'm like over it. It's so yeah, I'm over it.
Well, you should come visit me. I can't even imagine how different it is.
Yeah, it's very different. I don't know. I just feel like people are angry here. It's I think it's the second rudest state in the world. New York is number one as the rude.
Oh, rude, really?
Yeah. And I think New Jersey is like right behind New York. And I'm just like, I can't with this anymore.
I don't think I could handle it.
I know. See, that's what I said.
I'm such an always fairy.
Yeah, you'll come here all happy speaking to people, and you're like, "Good morning," and they're like, "It was like, oh, okay."
Well, I grew up in the hippie time, so I'm totally.
Okay, so here's our signature question for the podcast. What's something that is unique that no one knows about you or your business? And how does that make you different?
Unique. Oh yeah, unique. So I grew up as a very different child than everybody in my area, in my neighborhood. I always felt very different.
Okay.
People talk about prejudice. And so for me, as a little white girl, I lived in a place where I was very different.
Okay.
We were the only white. No, we were not only the only white family in my neighborhood, 3 miles from the Mexican border, but my dad was an artist, and he painted nudes.
Oh,
so we were living in a very deeply Catholic Mexican area in the 60s.
Yeah.
And so the friends I made in my neighborhood, I was one of the only white kids in my whole school.
Okay.
Elementary and high school, actually. And so my best friend was the little girl, Yvonne, just down the street, the next house. But many of the other kids were really mean to me. They played pranks on me. They were mean.
Wow.
And so that's what I was raised with. And the only reason kids made friends with me was so they could get inside my house to see my dad's artwork, the nudes, because it was mind-blowing to them.
About nude paintings. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I mean, we were just so different. We were so different.
Yeah. Okay. Kids are mean. I'm sorry.
They are. They really are. No matter where you live, no matter what culture, kids are going to find somebody to pick on. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
And that's how we grow up. And you either break down and fall apart, or you get stronger.
Exactly. Yep, that's what I will be teaching my kids when I have them one day. But all right. So before we wrap up, do you have any questions for me?
I don't. I just enjoyed talking to you so much. You're really great. And thank you so much. I enjoyed it.
Awesome. Well, let everybody know where they can connect with you online.
Absolutely. And as soon as I get the link, I will be sharing this all over.
Okay, cool. So I will put her information in the show notes just in case you guys want to reach out and buy some art or, attend one of her art exhibits. All right. So until next time, everybody. Peace.